Hi, I'm Denny Luce, creator and host of Tap to Craft Podcast, a bi-weekly podcast focused on educating people on craft beer to help them along in their craft beer journeys. The show started in August 2014 and has two additional co-hosts, John Ream, owner and brewer of Trek Brewing in Newark, Ohio, who has stepped away from the show to focus on the success of his brewery, and my current co-host, Chris McKenzie, a craft beer enthusiast down in Tampa, Florida. I started my craft beer journey in 1992 when I discovered Thomas Kemper Brewing just outside of Bangor Naval Sub Base in Silverdale, Washington. I ordered up a blueberry dark lager and fell in love with the beer. I had to try more. My go-to beers in the beginning were the Schutz's Black Butte Porter, Alaskan Amber, and Red Hook ESB. Only the Black Butte Porter remains one of my go-to beers today. In the late 1990s, I discovered hoppy ales with the release of Full Sail Brewing's 10th anniversary ESP, known as Extra Special Pale, which was basically an IPA loaded with bitter, piney hops. From that point on, I searched out and tried every IPA I could find. I could not get enough of that bitter, hoppy beer. Today, I still drink IPAs, but I really enjoy a variety of styles and to change my drinking habits to the current season. A few years ago, I was asked by Craft Beer Joe, a beer blogger posting at craftbeerjoe.com, and he asked me if I would help him with an article he was approached to write. The premise was to discover memorable or favorite labels among craft beer drinkers. Often, craft beer drinkers are attracted to packaging, artwork, and even beer names. So why not find out how that connection is made and what makes it so memorable? Here are 4 labels I sent to Craft Beer Joe a few years back. And maybe we will add more with future sessions. Flying Dog Brewery Doggy Style Pale Ale. I walked into a local grocery store one evening in the early 2000s looking for a hoppy beer to try. My eyes were immediately drawn to a 6-pack container with the most bizarre artwork I had encountered to that date, with a name just as outrageous, Doggy Style Pale Ale. I am a sucker for creative names and artwork, so I picked up a 6-pack and gave it a try. I was shocked that the beer was actually really good, and the label artwork was from Ralph Steadman, and one of those bottles started my collection of uniquely labeled bottles, which now contains over 200 bottles. Guanidas Brewing Censored Rich Copper Ale. Why is this label one of my favorites? It is just a big black box covering a name, which the name was known as Chronic, with a K, with the word censored in big white letters. Nothing too special. Well, it is special for a couple reasons. For one, it caught my eye as I was perusing the beer aisle. It was around 2003, and again, I was in search of something new when my attention was immediately captured by a label that told me this was something I should just ignore. I thought it was very creative marketing, and I had to try it. It didn't matter that I couldn't pronounce the name of the brewery, or that I hadn't even had a beer from them before. The second reason this beer and label was important to me is it was the beer that made me fall in love with Guanidas Brewing. Sun Brewing Arrogant Bastard Ale. In 2003, a friend of mine was brewing some incredible homebrew. He was experimenting with all kinds of styles, and he heard this Arrogant Bastard strong ale clone was good, so he brewed it. It turns out he really didn't like strong ales, so he gave the whole 5-gallon batch to me because I loved it. In 2004, Sun Brewing started distributing in my area, and I was finally able to drink the real Arrogant Bastard Ale, and I loved it just as much as my buddy's homebrew version. The artwork is edgy with a gargoyle holding a pint and saying, "You aren't worthy to drink this beer." There's a complete story written on the label explaining why you are not worthy, too. It was the pure arrogance that drew me to this beer and label. Ninkasi Brewing Critical Hit Barley Wine. I have been a fan of Ninkasi Brewing out of Eugene, Oregon since 2009 when they entered the Boise area with their awesome IPAs. Their label artwork has always been unique with details not usually found on beer labels. The label I selected to highlight is their Critical Hit Barley Wine. This label attracted the geek in me with the Dungeons & Dragons style wizard holding a staff adorned with 20-sided die in one hand, with a warhammer in the other, and a dragon too. The details are in the background, where there is a D&D style grid map of the local Eugene, Oregon wilderness area. One thing not displayed in the image is the metallic silver ink used in the Critical Hit barley wine title and Ninkasi logo. Midnight Sun, Panty Peeler Belgian style triple. The last label I had to select is from a great brewery up in Alaska, Midnight Sun Brewing, and it's their Panty Peeler. I know beer names like this can have a negative connotation, but this is playful, whimsy label artwork that just makes me smile. It suggests this tasty elixir with a higher ABV may allow you to get loose of your inhibitions and just live life a little more free-spirited. The big smile on the lady riding on the back of a reindeer as she peels off the last of society's restraints to her freedoms is not only tastefully done, but also gives hope to all those of us who don't have the courage to step out of line once in a while.